Good afternoon. My name is Mike Pahsetopah. I'm Muskogee Creek, Osage, Yuchi, and Cherokee. Today we're going to go into our third segment of Indian Sign Language. And this is a new way for many of us to do something that came back from the past for today, that we can understand how to use this language and communicate. You know, a lot of times we depend on English, and today our Native American language has been brought back, but this is a part of it that back when there was a language barrier, a diversity, that it was through plain Indian Sign Language that we communicated. So I'm happy to be a part of this work. And I brought some items with me today, and I believe that like back here on the back of this teepee frame, if we were to say teepee in Indian Sign Language, we would do this. That's the symbol of a teepee, but in modern terms we would say this symbolizes the home. And back leaning against this pole is a rifle. And in Indian Sign Language, a hunter or a warrior that carried a gun, they might do this. That symbolized a rifle or gun. And then the flute. The sign for a flute is this. You listen, I hear the flute music in the air. Now, right now, in many places, we wear a mask to protect us. And I brought this one here. It's decorated with buffaloes on it. And how we say mask in Indian Sign Language, let's just take the animal, the raccoon, woodco in Muskogee Creek, would be this. And then the tail has those rings around it. So a mask that goes over our face would be like this. It goes on your nose, covers your face. Now, what I'm going to do now is we are going to kind of review, because since the last time has passed, maybe a couple months, and I kind of want to go back and hit some of these the sign language. So for hello, we would raise our hand. We might say in Osage, Hawe. In Cherokee, we might say Oseo. In Creek, we say Heshje. Being that this is the afternoon, towards the evening, in Yuchi, we'd say Fonsan. All right. Now, for Native American, we would point, we do this with our index finger, go across the hand. That means Native. Indian, American Indian. Some of the items that I'm wearing, we would say this bonnet. How I would do that bonnet is I would use my fingers. I'll go like that. It means I'm wearing a bonnet. And then a lot of this is my dancing clothes. The symbol and the sign for dance is this. Okay? And then footwork. You know, we want to do footwork. That's or walk. This is walk. Okay? If we're going to go fast, this. If we want to spin, we do this. Or to twirl. I remember my grandfather used to ask me, point at me, want to know when you gonna dance. So And in some circles, this would be dance, or this could be used to dance. Boy, a long time ago, me and my old Comanche friend, Charles Chabity, we'd be at a restaurant or a cafe, and be kind of bored waiting for a meal, and we'd have a little contest at the table, both of us, and then split. So that was always fun times, and we used that sign language. All right, now for storytelling, as we speak, we carry that word we're telling, that word's going out. Here, we're watching. Okay? Now, for yes, yes, yes. To point, in some native cultures, is wrong. It's not accepted in certain Native American tribes to be pointed at like that. So how they would do that, or if I was to say me or I would use my thumb. Me, I. Eye contact was another thing. You really sometimes didn't look into a person's eyes. Why? It was a cultural thing. The eyes are the window of the soul. When you look into that, that's more contempt and taken as a challenge. So you'll see a lot of natives when they speak, they might find a focal point and they'll be speaking. You really don't see that eye contact being that visible when they talk. So when we're saying you, talking about you, yes. And when we say here, where? Here, or there. You might even use facial movement, like pointing with your lips and with your fingers. Over there. Distance, sometimes we might do that long span. Or when we use prayer, when we speak. This would be holy. Just like when we use smoke, cedar. It goes up. These prayers, when we speak, they go up. Now, daytime. We use daytime, we might point and use that sun coming up in the east. That mark or that sign may look like this. See that little hump, that little hook in it. Noon. Evening. Or maybe you're using your hand to tell a story. You might say this is the ground, this is where the sun comes up. Position it, just like you would see on a watch, looking at a clock or something. Time. Nighttime is this. It covers over. It gets dark. And then stars, you're doing this. So it's like you're touching them all, them little shining stars in the sky. A bird flies over. See that. Now, to see is this. I see you. I'm looking. Right there. You, yes. Come, or come. You use both hands. Come. Or I'll take that. I'll receive that. That's mine. Like and good is pretty close to similar. There's a similar, like this is good. Sideways. Good. Yes. I like that. take it or grab it. When you grab like that, that's take. You're grasping it. Okay? Let's say a thought. I have a thought, an idea. I'm thinking. You could put facial expression to it. Thinking. Grab that thought. Or maybe you're sleeping and you have a dream. I was asleep. I was dreaming. I seen you in that dream. Now, looking at trying to want to try to make sure I got a real easy curriculum here where you can learn. Now, if you say direction, which direction you have behind me? North, south, east. East, so always where that sun comes up, sun goes down, west. And when we use those signs, it's easy to give direction. Now let's take in the old days, back when a warrior may be scouting or maybe getting ready to besiege or circle around the enemy. They might go, you have a warrior right here, brave, and he's pointing to that one. This way. Back. Come. Stop. Right there. Look. Here. Go around. Go around them. Same way at a powwow, at a dance. Big circle. Got all your dancers. They're scattered out in that circle. And if I was to tell, like my daughter, go out. Right there. Stay. Come in. That drum, I might go like this. Listen to that song. Footwork. Spin. Stop. Sometimes this is for sit. If you want to stand strong, like that. Sideways. Turn. The other way. This thing here can wind around, see? Just like that. Same way in sports. You're coaching a team. You might use hand signs, sign language to them. You know, tell them to hurry, run, jump. Shoot. I was thinking earlier about driving a car, and I imagine back in the 30s, my great-grandfather, he had an automobile. He had a chauffeur, but when he was going to go to town, he'd say he's going to drive. Pretty simple. Everybody understood what he was saying, even though he couldn't speak. He's going to go to town. Money, this. I remember when I was little, I'd see a family member asking my great-grandmother, "How sold he tax? Now I need some money." She'd say, "Hold on," saying no. Oh, I had to throw that one in there. Now, to go is this. Go. You come back. Right here. You'll see a lot of times at powwows, moms and dads telling their kids, "Get over here. Right here. Listen." speaking. He listened to me. And so when I grew up, my dad was very, very quiet. And he spoke a lot with his hands when he was talking to me. You know, it wasn't only, shake his head sometimes, but sometimes he would use those hand signs. And I understood him. I watched his hands, how they moved, how he would do stuff, because he used his hands a lot. Do artwork, sing, play flute. His hands was how he articulated, waving, shaking hands, friendship, all of that. Now, just a few more lines when we can get started on a story here. I think this is going real good. Now, to open, like if you was going to school and you open up your book, like that, open. Sometimes we want a door to come in. Open the door, come in. Or shut the door. Shut the door. It's about supper time for many people. A lot of people get hungry. We go here. Hungry. Food. This. Eat. Water. Drink. Cup might be like this. I was watching a guy doing sign language. The way he did coffee was like that. A long time ago, they used to grind it up and then put that water in it, and then drink coffee. If it was hot, do this. Hot. That was still when in the heat of the summer, the sun coming down. That's how they would do heat. Cold. So if you would say that food, it's cold. And then when you get full, you just bring that where you was once had empty belly, you go like this. Now I know a lot of natives sometimes when they refer to the belly, they might do this. And you understand that more than you would this for many natives. Now, I'm going to tell a story here, and this story here is a Muskogee Creek story, and it's how day and night became equally divided. And there's characters in this story, such as Nosy Bear. This is a symbol for bear. Okay? Now if the bear was growling or had sharp teeth, you would do this. The sharp claws go like this. Okay? If he was going to claw you, you'd reach out. Storytelling, in the old days, those that use that sign language would bring that story alive, not with just their hands, but by using their body to illustrate. Earlier I mentioned raccoon. Raccoon in Creek is Whitco. Okay? He has a mask. He has a tail. If you was doing a dog, you would notice that dog's tail would be wagging. Well, for him, you'd see that with those rings. The rings on the tail are equally divided. And then ground squirrel. A lot of times when we do a muskrat or a squirrel or a beaver, something like that, we would do the pouchy cheeks, the puppy cheeks here, and then a squirrel's tail kind kind of shakes. It's quick. So you would work that. Now don't get this confused with a snake. A snake is like this. Rattlesnake is like that. Okay? And two fingers here, five. So anyway, get back to the story. Those are the three animals that you see. Now for deer, the antlers is like this. For a moose, be big like that. Alright? Sometimes a deer moves quick. It's like his feet's barely hit and he springs. Alright, now this story, again, is a Muskogee Creek story. And it goes like this. Long ago, in the times of creation, all of the animals on the earth is round, all of the animals come together around a fire. Fire. That's a symbol for fire. They were having that meeting. The Creator put Bear in charge to watch over all of the animals, small and big. Many animals preferred it to be daytime, whereas the other animals preferred and liked it to be night. And so Noglesy, many of the animals feared him because he was big, growled, had sharp claws. So the small, timid animals eagerly aligned themselves with him and his decisions and choices. The other ones wanted to speak up. During this time, it was Chilopchu came up close to the fire. And he walked with confidence, just like we do. And suddenly, he stopped. And he pointed at Woodco. He said, I prefer that day and night be equally divided. And suddenly, you couldn't hear a sound, but the sound of Noglesy growling. And again, the bigger animals covered the small ones as they hid and were watching. And again, Chilopchu, ground squirrel, began to walk with confidence. And he said, lifting his finger, I suggest and propose that today, now, that day and night be equally divided. And so all of the animals agreed. They came together. What they heard was good. And so it was that day and night became like it is today. At the end of that meeting around that fire, the animals began to leave in the directions that they came, returning back to their homes. leaving only Noglesy and ground squirrel there. As he walked by, Noglesy dropped his claw down the back of Chulokchu ground squirrel, leaving those marks, those stripes, that today the descendants of ground squirrel have those white markings, and that's how they used to explain that story, how things were and how they are today. That's all. All right, now the next story is about a hunter, a warrior. And it was said that long ago there was a warrior, a hunter, that he went out, went far, looking, searching, following tracks, that he may bring back game and food back to the people. This warrior, this hunter, was thin. This is how we do in sign language, thin. We go down further down the arm to say thick. Well, this guy was thin. And he went out with his bow. Back here, his arrow. Line it up. So he was out looking, talking. And suddenly he stopped. Over around those trees, he could hear something moving in the brush. He was listening. He was looking, his bow down, and suddenly, out came a bear, ferocious bear. His teeth was out. That this warrior, hunter, took off running. He was running with all of his might to get away. He looked behind him and he'd see that bear coming. That bear was growling, and his hands, his claws and stuff, were just slashing out at that warrior. Finally, that warrior was pinned against a cave. Rocks and big. And that bear was coming at him. Each step, claws in the air, teeth sticking out. But this warrior, this hunter, put his hands together, prayed, and he talked to the Creator to help him, to save him. When suddenly that bear, mean bear, put his paws together, and he prayed, and he said, "Thank you, Creator, for this food that I'm about to receive." And I bet you all didn't see that coming, did you? So I want to end right here today, and it's been an honor to share the sign language with you and to impart this for this generation today. So boys and girls, parents, moms and dads, I hope you enjoyed it. I want to stop here. Thank you.